So these sessions are brought to you in partnership with WorkWell NYC, the City of New York's workplace wellness program. Their programs cover 5 main areas to keep city employees eating well, moving more, taking action to prevent or manage disease, building mental resilience, and addressing issues of health equity. And this session, as you just saw, is being recorded. So we encourage folks to share and participate with us along the way. We want you to be on camera. And note, the session is recorded, so the comments and views expressed by participants are their own and not necessarily reflective of WNYC or Beautifully Fed Food, Workplace Wellness, WorkWell NYC, or Beautifully Fed Food. Recordings will be made available to all participants at the end of the series and will be posted on the WorkWell New York City website. You should know about the recordings. You'll always have access to the recipes and such. I think the first 2 recordings aren't complete, so you won't get those first 2, but every recording afterwards you'll have, as well as recipes for every single one in the series. There are 5 of them. And we're really excited to be invited to share this cooking class with you today. Thank you so much, WorkWell NYC. Thank you, each of you, for showing up. And thank you to our ambassadors of WorkWell NYC for taking on your own series, like Alexis. So I'm really excited to see you here this one, but ambassadors of WorkWell will say, hey, we want you to come to our group and do a series for us. So we really encourage you all to do that. I am Karen Joseph, and my partner, Fiona Adams, will be your chef today. I'm going to be behind the scenes, kind of letting folks into the room, checking in on the chat, making sure your voices are heard, that we see your faces, your kitchens, if you want to show us what you're up to in the kitchen, and we'll be spotlighting you if you let us. I will ask permission. I will try to remember to ask permission. And I'll let Fiona introduce herself and the recipe, and then we'll cook. That's how this will go. Cool. Any questions? No? Take it away, Fiona.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. I'm Fiona Adams. Karen and I are 2 of 8 partners in our business, Beautifully. I have such a hard time pronouncing the word beautifully, but anyway, Beautifully Fed Food. So welcome to the 4th and the 5th of this series. So yeah, we're almost coming to a close, but I'm so glad that we have had this time together. But we're going to get started because, again, we do have a lot going on here. We're starting with our tortilla mix because that's going to have to sit. Also, is there anybody on with us who grew up making tortillas or who have experience making tortillas? Because I definitely want you to chime in, because the way I'm doing it may not be, the traditional way, because I know traditionally olive oil is not in there, but if you're new to making tortillas, that just helps to make sure that there's some moisture in there, because it can be kind of dry. So that's why you'll see that in the recipe. But I would love to hear from anybody who kind of grew up making tortillas, or just for whatever reason has taken on making tortillas and you're really great at it. I want you to chime in, but we're going to get started. I have a cup of flour here. And we talked about how to measure flour in the past, but what I did was, spoon the flour into my measuring cup and then level it off with a knife, because otherwise you can end up getting too much flour in your recipe, and then it'll kind of just mess up the texture of your dish. So please do make sure that you're measuring your flour properly. So I've got my cup of flour in here, my masa flour as well. So that's corn flour. Who can talk about this? Again, I'm still waiting for, because I know there's somebody back there who grew up eating tortillas.
Somebody who's in one of our classes in the series.
Somebody said she does do it, but she's going to chime in. She's between work. Gabby.
Gabby.
Right. So we're using masa flour, and this is instant. Yes. Well, the one I'm using anyway is an instant yellow corn flour. So masa is essentially corn flour. That's what we're starting with, and I have about a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm going to add my tablespoon of olive oil here. And then anytime you're working with dough, you really, obviously you start with your dry ingredients and you add your liquid ingredients. And then when it comes to your water or milk or whatever your liquid ingredient is, you want to add it bit by bit. because the dough will vary depending on the humidity, on so many different things. So add your water bit by bit. I mentioned in the recipe to start with half a cup, but you may even want to start with even less. And then
Fiona, folks are asking, are you using regular flour and the masa or just masa?
No, I'm just using masa flour. So the
Masa only.
recipe calls for 1 cup of corn masa flour,
There we go.
masa harina. So I'm starting to mix. What we're going for is a crumbly kind of a dough. We don't want it to stick to your hand. I'm sorry. We want the dough to come together. We don't want it to be too crumbly, and then we don't want it to stick to your hand. So right now, I'll show you. This is what I would consider to be too crumbly. Like it hasn't even, you know, it hasn't even mixed in yet, right? You're still seeing lots of loose pieces in there. So you want this to come together without being too wet. So I'm just adding bit by bit here. Who else is making this with me? Anybody else making the tortillas? Ava, how's it going?
Ava is.
I'm up to what you're up to.
Great. All right, so see, I still have this much water left, and I feel like it might be okay for now, but let me mix it in because I want everything to be mixed in as well. Nope, I'm gonna need to add more. So you see how it's coming along. So it's holding together a bit more, but we still got some loose flour in there. So let's get a little more water in there so that we can, but now I want to really just add a little bit of water at a time.
Yeah. Amadoma is watching you intently and says that she loves that you're mixing with your hands.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did you already put the salt?
I did. I went, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry.
And doing it with your hands really allows you to get a feel for the texture, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for me, if you're making any kind of dough, at some point you got to get your hands in there. Because when I make bread, like I may start out, you know, with a spoon when it's super wet, but got to get your hands in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is feeling good to me. So now you see how it's totally mixed in and it looks like a ball of Play-Doh.
Yes.
Right? So
big dumpling.
Yeah. This feels really good to me. It's not sticking to my hands in any way. It's totally together.
Or to the
And
bowl.
so I think we're good. And so look at this. I ended up using half a cup of water. I didn't use a full quarter cup, 3/4 cup rather. Okay, so you can see I can poke my finger into the dough. So it's a nice soft dough. Pretty quick and easy to mix, right? Like you buy this at the store, but this took no time whatsoever to mix. And then just a few ingredients. So this, we're gonna let it sit. With most of our dough recipes, we do let them sit for a bit so it can come together and work its magic. So we're gonna put that aside. But I wanna hear from Ava and Kenya. Are you doing our tortilla with us, Kenya?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I had to do that one earlier because I have to leave earlier. So I'm trying to finish up. But yes, I did that.
Okay, great. How does your dough feel? How would you describe the texture?
It's soft. I just broke it up.
Oh, you've already broken yours up. Great, 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 great.
Yeah.
You've got
Can
your,
you see it?
yeah. So you've already broken it up into your 6.
No, I didn't break it up into that. I just, when you just said to see if it was crumbly, I just broke it up. I didn't do 6 pieces yet. I just let it sit down. So I just did that. So I'm not, yeah.
Got it. All righty. So since that's sitting, we can now go ahead and work on our salsa because we want those flavors to be able to come together. So I have my 2 ears of corn and Karen is going to share something interesting that one of our other chefs shared during a demo that she recently did while I start prepping the corn.
Sure. So we discovered, I was a participant in this class with our chef, Jasmine, who's from the Dominican Republic. She was there with her mom. And they were both, she and her mom were sharing how they both grew up with their mothers using the corn silk, reserving the silk from the corn, and putting it into a pot of boiling water and turning that into a tea that they would drink whenever they had a bladder infection or something with their urinary tract or whichever. And it would clear it up. They would instantly feel better. And I just started doing some preliminary research into it just to see what I could find. And it is an ancient healing remedy for urinary tract infections, to boil water. They've been using this in Chinese medicine as well as in ancient Indian medicine as well. So yeah, something. I'm wondering, have any of you come across this using corn silk as any sort of healing remedy in your culture? No. Can you say no? Cool. But yeah, we love learning about different ways we use food to heal ourselves and what folks call foods in different cultures too. Fiona started off this class talking about papaya and how papaya, where she's from, they call papao. And I was reminded that when I was in papa. And I was reminded when I was in Cuba, that's where my dad is from. Papaya is a very popular fruit. However, you cannot say papaya in Cuba because they think you're asking for something very different. Papaya is actually what they refer to the female vagina. That's papaya. So we call it in Cuba fruta bomba. Fruta bomba is what, if you want papaya, that's what you say. Otherwise, it's a different conversation you're having in Cuba. So I mentioned that only to say, what are something? You're welcome. I thought it was important. But really, this is to open up the dialogue around the fact that we call different fruits different things in different cultures, and it's really cool to see, because that's how we know a fruit is a real item, when different cultures have different names for it. I mean, if you think about it, if Doritos were in Dominican Republic or Mexico, it would still be called a Dorito. They don't come up with another name for it. But if it's a real fruit, that has been around, we develop our own names for it. So it's really cool to kind of learn what we call it, where we're from. So if you eat papaya where you're from and it's different, we want to hear what you call it.
Yeah, I also want to hear are you all using fresh corn if you're cooking, and how do you shuck your corn? I feel so country when I say that. How do you shuck your? I feel like I should be kind of like
doing a dance, shucking and diving.
I love that. I feel like I should be on a farm right now, like wearing some overalls. Like, come on, y'all, let's shuck our corn.
People.
I would love to live on a farm. Can I tell y'all, that would be my dream? I think that's what I say anyway. So I started out by taking off the outer layers, and then I did wash it, and then I cut at the bottom so that I can have it stand up here in my bowl, and then I can just go through and cut it off and have it fall right into the bowl. How do other folks do this? Pretty much a standard way of getting corn off the cob. This is one of my favorite things from veggie. I love corn on the cob so much.
Me too.
But, I'm sorry, I'm making a whole lot of noise. I know that some people have some feelings about corn, and it is one of the most highly GMO foods out here. So, just know where you're buying your stuff and know who you're buying your food from. Because I was thinking about the zucchini in this recipe. I really wanted to leave the skin on it because I just think it would add more color to the dish. But I tend to only leave the skin on fruits that are organic. And then I said, no, that's not true. If I go to the farmer's market and I'm able to talk to the farmer and I can learn about their growing practices, it doesn't necessarily have to be organic, because there's a cost in getting organic, that label, and some farmers they can't afford it, but they are using really great growing practices. So if you have the option of going to a farmer's market and getting to know local farmers, definitely take advantage of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, Stephen mentions that his sister is married to a gentleman who grew up in Ghana. and his sister was turned onto champagne papaya and seeks it out when it's in season in the spring. I've never heard of champagne papaya, but I've heard of champagne mango, which is very
Ava.
popular. Right, Ava? Very popular. It's also called a Haitian mango. It's popular in Haiti, Stephen. And oh my God, the flavor of that thing is amazing. And if champagne does anything to mango that it does to papaya, I'm gonna seek that out too because I love it. Love, love,
Yeah,
love.
she buys it by the case. If she can find a case of it, she'll.
Wow.
She actually hits me up. She's like, "So, have you seen anything in your neighborhood in New York?" I'm like, "Let me check."
Good luck. You're a good brother, Stephen. Yes, that's how we do it.
When is it in season?
In the spring?
Did he say in the spring?
Yeah, typically April to June.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. So I just added my papaya to the bowl with the corn. What's the difference between like a regular papaya? So mine looks like this, right? So Stephen, can you tell us a little bit about the difference? Like, what does the other papaya look like?
Champagne
I
papaya?
know you're working.
Yeah, so they're tiny. They're super tiny.
Got it. So this is a papaya I'm working with. These seeds, they are edible, but they're pretty bitter. So I'm gonna opt out of eating the seeds. But it's so funny. So I just called around to some of my family members before this. I was like, because growing up, my family was always like, oh, papaya, it's so good for you. Well, they said papaya. It's so good for you. It's so good for you. So I called two of my aunts. I'm like, why is it so good? I don't know. They just said it was good. I'm like, okay. This is not helpful. You're supposed to be able to impart wisdom to generations. Anyway, I also am adding my zucchini, which, when I make this, I love to roast the zucchini before I put it in because it's such a nice balance between like the raw corn, but then the roasted zucchini. But I know that we're trying to stay away from the oven. So we're just having it raw today in this salsa, but definitely roasted if you want to give that a try. And again, I would have left the skin on to add a little more color to this, but we've got a little bit of color with the corn and the papaya and the zucchini. So everybody with us, we're keeping up here with our salsa. Yeah, great. So
Awesome.
now we've got our onion and garlic. Adding that in.
Hey, I'm Adelma. Thanks for putting your camera on so we can see you. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm gonna be moving around, so I didn't want to be moving and have the camera on, so I may be off and on.
It's okay.
But I'm loving the conversation and the recipe.
Yay! Alrighty, so I have my smoked paprika, my sea salt, and my cilantro here.
Ooh, cilantro.
Oh yeah, of course, cilantro.
How Fiona says it.
I love the smell of smoked paprika. It smells so sweet and delicious. Oh my
Yes,
God.
it does.
Doesn't it? Oh. I never want to go back to just having plain paprika. It just won't do for me anymore.
For real. Really quick, let's get to the chat. Heather, the corn is added in raw. Yes, I know that was your question, but yes, the answer is we do put it in raw in this recipe. You can eat corn off the cob raw by itself. It does not need to be cooked. Very delicious. And so, yeah, whenever we can, especially in the summertime, we like to use corn raw. Never knew that. Yeah, I remember when I found that out too, Heather. I thought you always had to cook it. It's like, no, you don't. And it's so flavorful.
So I'm gonna get my juice of the lime in here and I'm just rolling it around a bit to really make sure that I'm getting all of the juice out. Cool. Even though I am still gonna use this little juicer that I have. Karen's got her favorite citrus juicer. This one is mine. I like this one because it has measurements and I've got the little cup that it can store in. So this has become my go-to juicer. And it just gets every little bit out of there. So take a look at this. there's nothing left in that line. Like,
Look at that.
right?
Yes.
No waste necessary.
No fuss, no muss.
Is anybody, making this and considering any replacements or substitutions rather?
Ava, what you doing?
I'm I got to go out the box. Okay, so
What you doing?
I'm sorry guys, but I am not on the papaya train.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you said that, Ava. So I don't typically like the taste of papaya either. We'll get into that. But go ahead. So you're not on the papaya train. What are you doing instead?
Yeah. So I'm doing pineapple. I actually grilled it. I actually bought a grill recently, so I grilled a pineapple, and I grilled the corn too.
Nice.
So I'm doing the corn, pineapple. I'm gonna put tomato in it, the cilantro, the salt, the lime, the paprika, all that stuff. So those are the subs that I'm doing. Uh-oh.
Tell us how it comes out.
Okay. Oh, everybody was frozen. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So I was really glad that Ava mentioned papaya thing. So I wanted to say this at the start, not to turn folks off of it, but recognizing that things taste differently for different people. And so I was telling Fiona that I've had, when I was in Cuba and I was eating fruta bomba, I didn't like it. I would spit it out. Did not. I kept trying it different times. I never liked it. I was like, damn, I know that it's good for me and I wanted to eat it, but I didn't like it. So I stopped trying to eat it. And then Fiona says, okay, I'm making it into a salsa though. Have you had it as a salsa? I said, no. So this time there's going to be seasonings in it. There's lime, will you try it this way? I said, you know what? I will try it that way. Because maybe once it's seasoned, it'll be different. So I'm going to keep trying to eat it because it is good for you. And I did happen to look up what the health benefits are. If anybody's interested, I can share.
I mean, so much vitamin C. This has like almost 2% of your daily recommended value of vitamin C. So that's definitely one of them. Just cleaning up here. You want to keep your space clean. We are moving through this really well, folks. How is it going? I want to check in to see how your salsa is coming along while we talk about the benefits of papaya. Karen.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Karen, did you taste the salsa yet? Do you like it now then?
No, I haven't tasted it.
This is the batch she's going to taste? Okay. Good.
I'm in the other room when I come out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's actually here with me today. She's just in another room. Okay. Should we dare have her taste it on camera?
I don't know, y'all. I can be pretty dramatic if I don't like something. We'll see. All right. What do you want me to do? You want me to share the health properties?
Yeah, I also, while you were doing that, I wanted to see if anybody could get ready to come on camera, because Kenya and Ava, I think you're the only two cooking, but just curious about how your salsa is coming along. Well, Ava, you told us. Kenya, whenever you're ready, Karen will start talking about papaya in the meantime. Oh, she's done.
Who's done what? Okay, the salsa done? Wait, show us. I didn't get to spotlight you. Wait. Hold on. Add spotlight. Yeah. Ooh, look at the corn. Look at the papaya. Have you tasted it yet? You're on mute, Kenya. Can you taste it? What it tastes like?
I'm not quite done. I didn't put the zucchini in yet.
Okay.
So once I put all of it in,
then you'll taste
it. I did taste the papaya though. It's different, but it's good.
Okay. Yeah, it is different for sure. Ori is raising her hand as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Back to.
I love when Kenya says different. It's like
that's her word. She's like, I don't know about this. It's different. Yep.
But she said it's different.
And she's trying. Like I keep showing up, and she keeps making the stuff that we say that we tell her to make. Thank you, thank you, Kenya.
All right. Start heating up your oil, by the way, while we're talking about this, because we're going into the pinto beans next. I love that we are just like flowing through this. We are.
See? Look at what's possible, y'all. All right. Papayas, they contain high level of antioxidants. vitamin A, they've got vitamin C, and vitamin E. And as you may have heard, when an ingredient is high in antioxidants, it can also work to reduce your risk of heart disease, as well as reduce your risk of cancer. And what else? It's high in fiber, and anything that's also high in fiber can reduce your risk of heart disease. High fiber diets lower your cholesterol levels. It's high in folic acid, all kinds of stuff. So this is what your family meant, Fiona, when it says it's good for you. Like in so many ways, it's good for you.
The one thing that my sister remembered was, oh yeah, it makes you go to the bathroom, hence the fiber.
The fiber.
Ding,
ding, ding.
And most American diets are very lacking in fiber. So anytime you can add more to your diet, it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Ori, you had your hand raised.
I already put my comments
Oh,
in
okay.
the chat, so I think people read it. It's just a few quick notes. One is there are different papayas which have totally different tastes. And while some may be, excuse the word, repulsive to some, others might taste more like a cantaloupe or melon. So and the one that's club shaped, I buy papaya all the time. So the front of it is larger and then the other side is thinner like a club. The other thing I noticed in the past year by mistake is that papaya is the only melon type fruit that I know of, the only fruit that if you cut it and you notice, oh, it's not ripe yet because it's more of a yellowish instead of that deep orange, put it face down on a cutting board or plate on your counter. You don't even have to refrigerate it. And it naturally ripens within a few hours.
What?
I found this out by mistake because I forgot to put it in the fridge and I thought, oh, it's not ripe. I cut it too soon. It ripens, and I do this all the time now. I'll slice it in half. If I see, oh, it's not as ripe as I thought, face down on a cutting board or plate, leave it on the counter. Within a few hours, it ripens. It works.
So I bought this one on Sunday and it was still pretty green. And so now on Tuesday, you can see how it's ripened quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, so I am moving over to the stove so that we can start working on our smashed pinto beans. How are folks doing with the salsa? Are you all set? Yeah?
Kenny, you're on mute.
Almost there. Oh, sorry. Go, Ken.
Almost.
It definitely has just a really fresh summer flavor to it, which I was thinking about early as well, because I think I've mentioned how sad I am that summer's almost over. So I was like, this is the perfect recipe to just put me in that summer mood, you know, the corn on the cob, just the freshness of the salsa. So I'm appreciating this today. Hope you are too.
Yeah. Arit, thanks so much for sharing your tip about ripening the papaya on your countertop. A lot of people are really excited to learn about that. Me too. Ooh, we can see Fiona's other countertop. You know, Fiona has two cameras, y'all. One for her face and the other for the food. Let me see if I could. Do we need to spotlight the other one? Are you going to be to us?
What did you say, Karen?
Do we need to spotlight your stovetop yet?
Oh yeah, my onions are in there. So I'm starting to cook the onions down, letting those go for a little bit before I add the garlic. So we've talked about these cast iron skillets before, but I started using these because I did research on how to get more iron into my diet. And this was one of the ways that I came up with. So using cast iron skillets actually imparts some iron into your food. You know, it's probably not a tremendous level, but I was just looking for any way that I could to add more iron because I needed that in my diet. But I love cooking with them as well. It just, I don't know. There's just something into the Instapot now and all these quick things, but I love cooking in cast iron because it just gives me this feeling of like a time when food was just food and people took their time cooking and eating and enjoying food. So it's not just for, you know, the iron, but it just gives a certain feeling when I cook in them.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling the connection to family, to stories, because my mom also used to cook in these pots, and yeah, it's just like memories that come up.
All right, so I added my garlic. I feel like y'all are so quiet today. We need to hear from you. What's going on? How you feeling?
Oh, quiet.
You don't have to ask me to talk.
Yeah,
This
please.
is Mama Gama. It's interesting what you all were saying about the cast iron, because I feel like the family love is stored in the black cast iron. Like I have a few pans that were relatives' pans, and you know, we season them, but we don't just season them with whatever we're cooking. We season them with love. So if you get one from an ancestor, it's almost like you're passing down the love from that person. All of the recipes that they fixed in it, all the love that they put into the food, that I feel like that's in the pan. It's in the cast iron.
I love that. I love that.
Amen.
Yeah, right. Hi, Imani. You've been quiet. Look at you sneaking in, being all quiet.
I know. I'm sorry. I missed last week. I'm sorry.
We forgive you.
I missed you guys.
Missed you.
All right, so
Sharing in the chat about where they got their cast iron skillets from. Steven says he has his grandmother's cast iron pans from when she passed away when he was 7.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
And Gabby got hers from her mama, and her grandmother gave it to her. So it's been in the family for generations now. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
I had a cast iron skillet. My mother had one. She took it with her when she went to North Carolina. So I don't have one. I went to pick up another one. They don't make them like they used to. You have to really go get them from a good store in order to have it.
Yeah.
Because mine, the one I have now, is peeling. You see the iron in the pan. I don't use it for that reason.
I bought one at Marshall's and it's great.
Okay.
I had an old one. I didn't know they could break, so be careful. If you drop them, they can break. I had one break and I wanted to replace it, and I went to Marshall's and they had one that was a very similar size, and it's just fine. I've had it for years.
Yeah. The ones I've bought come from Lodge.
Yeah.
And Steven says, yeah, they're easy to season.
Yeah.
This one is a large pan I got at Marshall's.
Yeah, that's what I have. All of mine are large because they're affordable, you know, and they seem to hold up well. I mean, most cast iron holds up pretty well, but okay, so I have my onions, my garlic, and then I added my paprika, my cumin, my salt. Somehow I didn't break out my cayenne pepper, so I'm going to add that after. But I am now going to put in my beans.
What beans are these?
So it's pinto beans, and I did wash them. You know, I drained them and I washed them. And it's like, well, why are you bothered doing that? Because I know some people, because we are going to add a little bit of water to smash the beans. And it's like, well, why don't you just use the water from the can? And that's because you probably heard us say this before, that it helps you to control the sodium, right? Because they tend to add salt, it helps to preserve, but we can say how much salt we want in our food. They don't need to tell us. So we rinse it off to kind of get off some of that salt, and then we can add back whatever we want to it after that. There are some cans that come with no salt. So if you have that, then maybe you want to use the liquid from the can, but I don't know. I have so many like weird things in life in general, but in the kitchen when it comes to food, I'm just like, I don't want this water that's been sitting in this can. I want my own fresh water. So, but I mean, there is some flavor, right, in the water where the beans have been sitting in it for a little bit. So
do that. I want to check in with Ma Hill, who wrote about molasses for iron in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Ma, can you talk about that? Can you come up mute and share with us what you're talking about there? Where are you, Ma Hill? No. Maybe my hill's not with us anymore.
So I am cooking these beans down, and I'm adding some water just so I can smash them. If you don't want to smash your beans and you want to keep them whole, that's fine too. So, you know, this is obviously a take on refried beans, but refried beans tend to have, like, as far as I know, traditionally they'll have lard and lots of fat in them. And so this is just a lighter version of refried beans. So I'm adding just enough water to get the texture that I want. Because I'm going to mash them, but I want some of them to still be whole. It's not gonna be like a pureed kind of beans.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's looking really good, Fiona. Yum.
So just mashing it down.
I'd like to share two things. One of the reasons I rinse my beans is because it depends on what kind of can they're in, but some companies sell BPA-free lining cans.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. And also there's a relatively new company called A Dozen Cousins. They sell beans in pouches and they don't have the lard. They have refried beans. They have black beans. This is Mexican cowboy pinto beans. They have all different kinds of beans and you can get a variety pack or you can get a pack with the same types of beans. And I've even seen some of these in Trader Joe's.
Can you talk a little bit more about BPA? We definitely mentioned that during class, but can you share for those who are maybe new today?
I don't really know. I don't remember a lot about it. I remember one of my daughter's classmates spoke about it at a health program, but I avoided it. It's something in the plastic that goes into the food, and from what I understand, it can affect your hormones.
Yeah.
It's estrogen inhibitor or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to try to pronounce the full thing, but it's bismuth something. It's this chemical
That's why they say BPA, because it's easier.
Right, exactly. So it leaches into the food, and there's so many things. I mean, y'all, there's so many things that we have to consider when it comes to our food and the packaging. And, like I've pretty much gotten rid of just about all plastic in my home because there is some research that shows that for women and maybe for men too, I'm not sure, but the chemicals in the plastic can disrupt the estrogen levels in your body, can create imbalances. So just be really educated about what you're putting in your mouth, on your body, your food your surroundings. Being healthy these days is a lot of work, but don't let that turn you off either, right? Because any little step that you take is a good one. So just know that and don't feel like you have to do it all because you definitely don't.
Good point.
Oh my baby did that. Didn't want that to happen.
Did you just add a bay leaf to that?
Yeah, I did. Should have added it sooner, but I didn't. So it's there now.
It counts. Oh.
Okay. Taste. How is it going? Kenya, Ava, how's it tasting for you?
I don't see them anymore.
We love to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
The good, the bad.
Sorry, I was sweeping while I was
last week it was cookies, today you're sweeping, all these distractions.
Yes, my daughter doesn't want to eat her food. I'm like, okay, so the salsa came out slamming. That's good.
Nice.
I tasted that. So now, I forgot what else. Okay, so my onions are sweating now. Okay. And then what do we have to do after that? Add the beans?
Add the beans.
And the spices.
Add your spices, because we always like to toast the spices as well first, because that helps to bring out the flavor. Anytime you're toasting something, roasting, really helps to bring out the flavor.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Especially because you don't know how long the spices have been sitting there. So you want to really do whatever you can to help bring out the flavor.
Wake them up. They've been sitting dormant. Letty, do you have a question? Letty Leon? I see your hand raised. Talk to us, Letty.
So.
Or not.
I know I have a 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 teaspoon. Definitely start out with the lesser amount of salt. And the other thing is that I noticed that the recipe that you have, it just says half yellow diced. That's 1/2 cup of a yellow or white onion diced. That's what that's supposed to say. There isn't a new food out there called yellow that I'm asking you to put into the Like, we're really introducing you to some new stuff. You're putting some yellow in your food today, y'all. All right.
Where's that at on the recipe?
It's under the smashed pinto beans. It says 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then it says 1/2 yellow diced. Okay. That would be 1/2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, half cup of a yellow or white onion diced.
Okay.
Okay, folks, we gotta start making our tortillas. Are we ready? I'm
Do
gonna
it.
clean up my space. It's always good to have a nice clean space as we're working.
Yay, no question.
And no tortilla press needed. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't finish my beans. I need to add the juice of half of a lime.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah.
thanks people for sharing in the chat. Amadoma added the name of her beans that came in a pouch, a dozen cousins. They're non-GMO and they're cooked with avocado oil. And she loves their black beans. And Ma Hill wasn't able to come off mute earlier, but she did provide that she was talking about molasses being rich in iron, because Fiona mentioned that she was looking for different ways to supplement her iron count. And molasses is one way to do that. Heidi, I think, mentioned earlier that, yeah, you definitely want to look at black strap molasses.
Yeah.
Has a lot of iron, and that's different from dark molasses. So black strap is the molasses you want to go to if you're looking for sources of iron.
Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Ooh, and a summer drink in Puerto Rico, says Ma Hill, is molasses and tamarind over ice.
Tamarind, I love.
Yeah, I love tamarind. It's sweet already. With some ice and then some rum. She didn't talk about the rum. I'm adding it in. Sorry.
I have some tamarind in the refrigerator, and I've been trying to think of what to do with it. The first batch that I used, I made a juice, but I think I want to make a sauce. So the next time I make roti,
Yeah. What are you
I
gonna
have tamarind sauce to go with that.
Ooh, yes, you will. That's amazing. Do that. Stephen is asking if you can use dried beans and soak them overnight.
Absolutely. I prefer to use dried beans. I would typically do that for, myself when I'm cooking at home. And then, Stephen, what tips do you have for helping them to really soften and maybe start to break down? I know you have some tips for that.
So yeah, I put in a link in the chat too for Rancho Gordo. It's a company in California that ships beans all over the world. And I was introduced to them by a segment on Sunday morning on CBS News a couple of years ago. They're fantastic. With each little package, you get a recipe to try them out. So for dried beans, I try to use like lukewarm water to kind of soften them. So I'll take them out, rinse them quickly with cold water, and then maybe do a full tea kettle, bring it up to like a smolder, not exactly a boil, and then just let it sit for a half hour. So it's kind of, warmer than room temperature. Set them in the bowl, cover the beans, and then cover them with saran wrap or plastic wrap. And you're not supposed to say saran, but plastic wrap overnight. And typically you just drain them and use them. I like to use them in omelets in the morning. They're great to put in your biscuits. It kind of gives it a little extra texture and some protein. But yeah, I highly recommend the Rancho Gordo that I put in the chat. Check them out. They're good company.
Thanks, Stephen. Awesome. Good stuff. I love it when y'all share. Speaking of sharing, I'm going to share the poll. Would love for you all to take part. I'm going to launch it right now.
Oh my gosh, I just had a coughing fit, so I apologize that I had to go off camera. Karen is probably like, what is happening out there?
I'm launching polls. I'm doing a thing this time.
You're like, I'm not paying attention to you ever. All right, so I'm getting to the tortillas here. I'm breaking them into 4.
You okay?
6 there. I am, yeah. So, yeah, that should actually say 4 pieces. We did a smaller serving here, so it should say 4, not 6. Because you'll have some really baby tortillas if you do that many. Kenya, how's it going? Have you tasted anything yet? I never forget about you,
Mm-hmm. How did salsa come out, honey? You're on mute. Ooh, but we can see you. Can we come? We're gonna come.
Colorful.
Adding spotlight. Look at that. Pretty. Did you taste
it? But have you tasted it? We want you to taste that.
I tasted it before I put the cilantro, so it was good then. So now
Yeah,
I'm just stirring up the cilantro in there.
Great.
cool.
It gets even better as it sits
It
because
really-
all the flavors blend together and it infuses into the corn and the papaya.
yeah.
All right.
And last week we did, what did we do? We did something. And I added yogurt to it. And it took that kick away. So it was like, okay,
Because it was too spicy.
yes.
Last week,
It was
got it.
too, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
The tomato and farro salad.
yes, yes. So after I did that, I was like, okay.
Wow, with the yogurt, I could totally see that. Good idea. Look at you. Things. I love it.
Yeah, that is beautiful that you
Right?
are learning how to adjust these things.
Yes, yes. That's the goal.
That's the
Yes.
Because my
Go
kids, when they-
Kenya.
thank you.
doing it.
I'm trying.
Doing it.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna get us moving because I'm looking at the time. We always try to be respectful of your time. So I've got my first ball here. So I have a plastic bag. You know, we don't need any fancy ingredients. I mentioned that I don't have a lot of plastic and then I pull out a plastic bag. This is one of the few plastic items that I do have, but my bowls and things, you know. So we are going to take a ball and sit it in between a cut plastic bag. And then we're going to fold it over. Now, there are a few different ways that you can do this. You can use a rolling pin, or I am going to use one of my handy dandy skillets here. And you also notice that I'm going to use the same griddle, or what is this called? I'm going to use the same pan that I used to make my roti a couple weeks ago. So you really don't need any special equipment. I mean, you could use a tortilla press, you could use a tawa for your roti, but if you also have one of these that you're seeing on the stove, it's really versatile. You can make all different things in that. So we have this in here. I am going to now just press it down and just kind of twist it a bit.
Amazon.com has that flat cast iron pan.
Yeah.
They have a number of different ones. The large is $19.40.
Look at you. Thank you,
I'm gonna order one so I can make my roti and my tortillas.
And I am just gonna roll this out because I'm not
with our fancy French rolling pin.
Yeah. And I'm not worrying about it being perfectly round. Like, it's fine.
You do want it to be even though, right?
Oh yeah, you want it to be even. And I wasn't feeling like it was as even as I wanted with the pan. I wasn't applying the pressure in the way that would allow it to do that. So I'm just gonna use my pin, roll it out. You want it to be thin, but not too thin that it'll break.
Mm.
Okay. So you're going to just, in this hand here, hold your tortilla, and then you're going to place it on the griddle. Just lay it right there on the griddle. I'm not putting any oil or anything on the griddle. Just going to let that sit for a bit. Who's with me? Is anybody else? No? Kenya says no, or yeah. Ava, yeah?
How are you doing, Ava?
Good. I was fancy when I bought a tortilla press.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
You coming
Let's
over?
see your tortilla press.
Oh wait, I gotta. Okay, wait. Whoop, here's the mug. All right, hold on.
Inventory has increased with these cooking classes.
Exactly. Okay, so here's the one I got.
Nice.
Casa. So it came with the parchment paper and everything, so you can put it in between and just do like that and just press it. So this is my first one.
Look at that. Perfect.
Nice.
Round. Pretty.
Yeah, yours is actually round. But I'm not concerned about that.
It's gonna taste delicious anyway. Round doesn't have to.
Absolutely.
Fiona, with your hack of the rolling pin and or the pan, could you use parchment paper instead of the plastic bag?
Actually, you can. And I think I mentioned that in the recipe. I was just looking at it. And I do tend to use parchment paper over aluminum foil. So yeah, you can use that here as well.
Cool.
Okay, so how's it going? How's it going? It looks like my edges are starting to, you know, we can just move it around.
23 of you have already filled out the poll. I'm going to let it go for a couple more seconds if anybody else wants to go on.
Probably could have let that get a little bit browner, but I'll leave it there for now. And I'll flip it again and let it brown some more. And
Did you
I'll
spray anything on the pan? Sorry.
I didn't. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning. I just moved the tortilla around really easily and I didn't even spray anything on the pan. So Ava, how do you feel yours turned out? How was the texture of the tortilla? Because a corn tortilla, you know, is going to be different from a flour for sure. So
Yeah, I haven't used corn in a while. I'm so used to doing flour. So now when I went to turn it over, it broke a little bit. So we'll see how it comes out. Whatever, you know, we cooking. So if it's jacked up, it's just gonna be a deconstructed tortilla.
How much water did you end up using in yours?
I went down to a quarter cup. So I had the 3/4 cup and then I went down to the quarter cup. So I guess what was that, half a cup?
Yeah.
I don't know,
I'm actually feeling like I want to add a little bit more water to mine. I mean, I'm not going to be able to let it sit, but I want to try adding a bit more water. And like you said, Ava, this is cooking, right? Like you made one tortilla and you see how it went. I did the same. I mean, mine didn't break, but as I am rolling it out, I feel there's just something about it that I feel isn't the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
It's not holding together the way I want it to as I'm rolling it. So I want to try to just add a little bit more water to this. So folks, don't be afraid to just, you know, try things in the kitchen. If something doesn't feel like or look like it's coming out right, I'm no expert tortilla maker, but there's something about this. I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know, I don't think that this is quite the way it should be. Just kind of rely on your instincts as you're in the kitchen. You know, the more you play around, like love that Kenya said, yeah, I added yogurt to take down the heat in that. That was amazing.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is about to be a tostada, so it's all good.
All right.
Are we doing a water infusion tonight?
We are. Our water infusion is papaya and lime.
La la.
Yeah, it's still kind of, yeah, it's okay. Because my edges are not as.
They're not lined up.
Yeah.
Lay down.
All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Where are we? We're doing great on time. Because I also want to show that you can do a full meal in not that much time. Look at all that we've done. We've got our smashed beans, homemade tortillas, our salsa that will go on top of it. And we've only been cooking for actually a little under an hour.
And having a full conversation with all of y'all.
Oh.
Full conversation. Speaking of conversation, Ori wants to know, what do you recommend?
Hold on 1 second. Can I point? I just want to point something out to y'all.
Yeah.
Do you see how the tortilla is popping up right here? Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What you want to see happening with your tortilla? You
do or you don't?
You do. You absolutely. If you don't, I wouldn't have pointed it out, Alexis. I'd be like, shh. Don't notice that.
Happening over here in the
So you definitely want to see that puffing happening with your tortilla. Steven just came on camera, so I know he'll share something after Orit. Go ahead, Orit. Sorry.
Well, Ari was asking, what can you substitute for the raw corn in the salsa, right? Ari, that's what you're asking about.
Yeah, you can use any summer vegetable that you like. What do you like better?
Do a tomato salsa. Great.
Yeah, you could do tomato. You could do. I mean, I do an avocado salsa that I like as well. I feel like this could be avocado. It could be, I think that the thing is that it's a certain flavor profile and then just add the things that you enjoy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, moving on to my second one. I rolled this out a little thinner. So let's see there.
Kenny, you got your son in the kitchen with you, helping you roll out? Sweet.
My grand-
Grandson is a good helper.
Steven,
Hey.
did you want to add something?
So yeah, so I have a tip for summers in the Northeast. We have beautiful heirloom tomatoes. So if you just did an heirloom tomato, lots of lemon or lime juice, and some raw onion, and throw in some cucumbers, that's a great quick, kind of like a pickle of a salsa. But yeah, I logged in just to say thank you. This was fun, but my building's closing down, so I got to hit the road. I'm going to try to log in from my phone in the car and at least listen in. But this was great. Can't wait to log into the next one.
Awesome.
And the food looks delicious.
Great. Thank you for sharing as well.
Thank you for joining us, Steve.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Thank you. I have to go also,
All right.
but I will show you a picture next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Because I'm almost done.
Ooh, I'm gonna put in a link
Thank
to
you.
where you can share that on our.
I think you put one in last week, did you?
I sure did.
Okay, so I'm gonna send it to you on that one.
You sure can.
As
Thank you.
you are, make sure that you're putting your tortilla into a warm towel when it's done to prevent it from
Okay.
drying out.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to go too. Thank you. This was great. I'm gonna try this
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Amadoma.
next week.
See you next week. So glad to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I want to show you something as well.
Go.
After this, so this tortilla, it is starting to break apart. So I definitely did need to add more water to it.
Nice.
Right? So yeah, adjust as you go.
Yeah. Now we know. The water makes it more pliable.
Yeah.
I'm getting that now. Cool.
So we're almost there, folks, almost there.
Mhm.
Once we get this tortilla done, I'm actually going to put it together so that we can try it. Then Karen can come out and try it. And we'll see how she feels about the papaya. I mean, I honestly feel like the lemon, the lime juice, and all the spices in this, you won't even know that there's papaya in here. That's what I try to do with things that I know are good for me, but I feel weird about them. I'm still weird about mushrooms. And so I always hide my mushrooms and things. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting the benefits of it, but it's not in my face that I'm eating mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking how that feels better already.
Okay. Did you add more water to that wet batch already? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Ava, did you end up adding more water to yours?
Nah, girl, this is good. Wait, I'm putting a presentation plate together right now.
For sure. For sure.
I didn't mean to say it like that. You know, Brooklyn just came out. Sorry.
No, that was the perfect way to say it. What?
And did you add more salt? Because I know you tend to like a little more salt in things.
No, to the tortilla thing.
Mhm.
Well,
Well,
no, I didn't even take. No, it's actually pretty good. You know what? I'm trying to limit my salt because I'm a little heavy-handed. So, but I mean, I'm not scared of salt because salt is just flavor, you know. But again, I can get a little too over sometimes. So that's when the acid, the lime, and all that stuff comes into play.
Mhm.
But yes. So I'm ready to present a plate. Hold on. Okay.
Right.
Yes, I'm ready. Hold on. Put some. Okay.
I'm eating.
All right. Okay, so here I go.
Let's see.
Oh,
Glasses.
okay. Turn. Sorry. Okay.
Ooh la la. Ooh.
Pretty.
Beans with the corn salsa with pineapple. Ooh, that looks yum, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Do you see it, Fiona? Become.
Oh, I'm coming back. Oh, it looks really good. And you're doing a tostada, right? I think I'm gonna end up doing the same.
Yeah, I ended up oops.
So a
Sorry, when you
tostada
cut
is
the
where-
tortilla,
Yeah.
I cut it when you put the 4, I did it in 8. So that's how mine came out so small.
Okay.
Because I cut them in half and then I cut them in 4 and then I cut them in. So I did 8.
Right. So you see, the second one that I did is much more pliable. It's not
Okay.
just breaking apart like the first one. So it needed more water, Ava, because I had just as much water left over as you did. And when I added it, the second one came out different. So in this case, you probably, did need the full 3/4 cup. So so Karen, you gotta come out.
I'm gonna come out.
Yeah, let's see, y'all, if Karen will actually.
Fiona, so you ended up adding the rest of the water?
You know what? I didn't actually add all of it.
Oh, okay. So you just have to play with it. Okay.
Just add a little bit more. You're right. I said that I added the full 3/4. I'm just telling you all kinds of things tonight. Thank you for keeping me honest, Alexis.
Oh,
I want to
Alexis
know
be
for when I go back
listening.
into
Oh, Alexis be on point.
Oh my gosh, I think this is the first time we've seen them both together like this.
Yes.
We're both real people, different people.
It smells amazing in here. What the? Okay. What do I
Okay,
get
how
to
should we
with
do this?
I don't
So
know.
maybe, well, that can be your, well, you may not like the papaya,
Yeah,
so.
let's take a little piece. Start small.
Fiona's like, I don't want to waste this.
I know.
Yeah.
And you can garnish, like you can sprinkle some cilantro on there or add any kind of a garnish to it.
Oh my God, y'all.
Well, I think she likes how it smells.
Mm.
I got the
Oh, she's dancing!
All right now.
Dancing!
It's hitting. Oh my God. This is so good. Yeah, I wouldn't even know papaya's in it.
Okay, I'll
Ah,
Nice.
Fiona, you did it. You converted her.
Oh wow.
Nice.
The lime. There's like this zing zang thing going on. Mmm. Oh,
You
yeah.
would probably like more kind.
This is mine.
That's
This is mine.
Right, get your own. This is amazing. Oh my God. I'm so glad I'm here.
Funny.
There you go. Make this. Make this. Make this. It's
Fiona, there's a
amazing.
question. Are these tortillas soft or crispy or crunchy?
I'll have Karen answer.
They're somewhere in between.
Yeah.
They're somewhere in between. They're like, it's not like a crunchy taco. It's not that at all. But it has more texture than a flour tortilla would. So it's like it's got more substance.
Because of and I think it's because of the corn.
Because of the corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can the dish be
Yeah.
frozen for
Wait,
later
wait.
meals?
Yeah. I mean, which part of it?
The beans.
I don't know. That was Ori's
sort of.
question.
I
She's
love
taking over the chat since you guys are both in there eating.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Alexis. I'm telling you, she's the ninth chef in Beautiful Food. She's one of us.
If each part can be frozen or, made in advance and then served at a later time, can each of those be frozen?
I
I don't know
that-
about the tortilla.
I don't know that I would love the salsa frozen. I feel like that is something that should be fresh.
Yeah.
You
I do
know?
too. I think it'll get watered down. If you
Yeah.
froze it.
Wouldn't the tortilla also get watered down?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I haven't tried it. And so I don't want to give you an answer, not having done it myself and not having a good sense of it. I mean, we were talking about freezing the roti last week and we said yes, but I'm not that sure about the tortillas. I would think so, but I haven't done it, so I don't want to say 100%.
Yeah. And I've read about methods where people will put tortillas in between pieces of parchment paper
Yeah.
and
Same
freeze
thing with
it
the
flat.
roti.
The same thing with the roti.
Yeah.
So if you want to try that method,
Uh-huh.
you can let us know how it turns out. But yeah, I can understand not wanting to share without having done it ourselves. And we probably won't have leftovers after this because you see what's happening right now. Like we won't be testing that out today, but we will let you know.
Ava,
She's
is
like,
it
I'm gonna
good?
eat all of this.
Yeah, Ava, how are you enjoying yours? Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's really, ooh, sorry.
Go.
Sorry, Austin, sorry.
Bye.
Sorry. No, it's really good.
This is all right, folks. It's kind of felt kind of.
Ava, are you eating it out of a pot?
Ava, I'm gonna
No,
do
no.
spotlighting.
It's my plate.
Oh, I'm like, dang, it must be that good.
How is it, Ava?
It's really good. I like the salsa is like,
Isn't it?
it's giving
fresh?
it life. Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I like. Like the beans, you know, they're nice, but
Mhm.
it's that salsa that like really kicks it up
I
a
like
notch.
the addition of the lime and the beans. I used I only had like the kidney beans. I didn't have
Yeah.
Pinto or black, but it's still, I like the zing from the lime. It's really good. And then the pineapple or whatever fruit
Mm-hmm.
really brings out the sweetness. It's good. Cause like the whole thing is, it's not salty. Like I said, I'm cutting back on the salt, but it's just a nice equal balance of every flavor.
Yeah.
You get a lot. It's good.
Nice. Karen is still back there.
It's so good. Usually I'm on the other line in a different state or whatever, someplace else, and I can't taste the food and I'm mad because I'm hungry, salivating the whole time. And now the
I like
first
the corn too.
I can
It's
eat
fresh,
it.
right? Yeah.
Good.
It's real good. And then I was telling you I grilled it, so
Mm-hmm.
it,
Sweeter.
it's nice.
Yeah, sweeter
I'm
flavor.
so hype. I got a grill.
I bet you are.
Are you all hearing any feedback? Because I just want to make sure the audio is okay since we're in the same space. Are we good? Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. So that is it, folks. I'm so excited that we had a live taste test today. And she wouldn't, trust me, if it wasn't where it needed to be, she wouldn't have danced. We know that it's where it needs to be.
This is true.
Awesome. We did it. We made all this food in a little over an hour. I think that that's pretty amazing. Like you can go to work, come home, make fresh tortillas for your family, beans, and the balance here. We've got the fiber, the protein, we've got amazing fresh veggies, summer veggies and fruit, and
it's delicious.
And delicious.